Hello, today we are going to present to you the steps used in the installation of an EnviroSeptic system for an isolated dwelling. We will look at the soil surface preparation, the installation of pipes, accessories, and to finish, the final backfill. Before starting the work, be sure to have on hand the latest version of the project drawings and specifications, the municipal permit, and the sieve analysis of the system sand to be used. Refer to the checklist to prepare all the necessary materials for the installation. Once on site, carefully study the installation plans to identify level references and site constraints. If at this time, or while installing, you notice any elements that aren't the same in the plans and in reality, immediately contact the designer to discuss with him which approach is best to take. This is now a good time to speak with your client and describe the work that will be done and how the land will look after the septic installation is completed. This way, you are reassuring him as well as avoiding misunderstandings. It is time to prepare the soil surface. Using the plan and landmarks present, lay out the arrangement of the system elements with pickets. Next, take a moment to plan for the moving of machinery and trucks during installation. Determine if you will only have to remove the topsoil or if you need to dig further. The depth to excavate depends on the configuration chosen by the designer. Be sure that the bottom of the excavation is level. The native soil surface should be scarified using a tooth bucket. A ditch bucket should not be used. Stake out the infiltration surface, the positioning of the pipes, the feeder, and air circuits. Once the surface is prepared, the next step is to install the sampling device on the receiving soil. Before you move on, don't forget to remove the documentation from the sample port before proceeding with the installation of the base. In order to facilitate the EnviroSeptic system installation, we have placed reference marks on the base and sample port of the sampling device. Get to know these marks through the provided documentation. At the edge of the system, create a recess to install the base of the sampling port. The mark 1A or 1B, depending on the configuration, should be at the same level as the scarified soil. Remove the rubber circles from the watertight joints to be used. Next, place the infiltration pipe on the receiving soil and connect it to one of the bottom openings using the proper adapter. Then cover it up with system sand. Place the collector on the infiltration pipe so that the top of the collector arrives at the number 2 mark on the sample port. Place the water collection pipe in the collector. Join it to the sampling port using a PVC pipe. Use the high opening of the base of the sampling port to connect this pipe. Be sure that the PVC pipes enter the sampling port by 3 centimeters. Once all the elements are in place and connected together, bury it all with system sand. Be sure to put system sand on the sides of the collector before filling the rest to avoid collapsing. Pack the sand well around the sampling port and the pipes connecting it to the other elements. Once the collector is full, lift the positioning blades, allowing you to properly align the row of pipes. Refer to your plan to know the depth of the layer of system sand on which the advanced EnviroSeptic pipes will be placed. Be sure that the infiltration surface corresponds with the proposed dimensions. The system sand must conform to the 4 EnviroSeptic sand criteria. You must also have on hand the report of the corresponding sieve analysis. Be sure that the top of the layer of system sand is level and arrives even with the mark on the sampling port corresponding to the depth of sand specified in the plan. Be sure to place the first row of advanced EnviroSeptic pipes above the sampling device's collector using the position of the sample port and the positioning blades. Put the other rows of pipes on the sand surface, keeping in mind their required spacing. Place the advanced EnviroSeptic pipes in the right direction, the bioaccelerator toward the bottom and the seam on top. Pull back the geotextile membrane at the extremity of the pipes being linked. Install the couplings on the pipes by placing 2 corrugations from each pipe into one coupling. Next, reposition the geotextile membranes on the coupling, being careful to keep the seam upwards. Place the offset adapters on the extremities of the EnviroSeptic rows. Make sure the brackets hold well into the corrugations of the pipe. The single offset adapter must be placed on the same side as the distribution box, with the opening toward the top. The double offset adapter is installed at the other extremity with the openings placed vertically. Verify that the specified spacings have been respected. Be sure that all the advanced EnviroSeptic pipes of each row are at the same level. Once all the pipes and accessories are installed, cover the couplings with system sand to stabilize everything. Now that the rows of pipe have been leveled and stabilized, add system sand to half pipe depth and compact it by stepping on it. Complete the system and layer up to at least 10 centimeters above the pipes. We will now add piezometers and ventilation pipes at the extremity of the system. It is recommended to use 1 piezometer per row of pipes to facilitate the measurement taking. The assembly is done with the help of PVC pipes and short elbows, being careful to glue the elbows. Determine the length of the piezometers, taking into account the height of the backfill of the final landscape. Complete the preparations by adding the green caps provided in the EnviroSeptic kit. Once the piezometers are assembled, insert them about 10 centimeters into the bottom hole of the offset adapter. Be sure that the sand under the pipes is well compacted and that the horizontal pipe is level. Add and compact the sand as needed to stabilize the piezometers and to receive the aeration pipes. The air pipes are linked to the entry vent. This vent allows air to circulate through the system before leaving via the roof vent. For the circulation to be efficient, there must be at least a 3-meter height difference between the entry and exit vents. To connect the advanced EnviroSeptic pipes to the entry vent, use PVC pipes with a 10 centimeter diameter. These air pipes must be at a slight slope, about 1%, toward the advanced EnviroSeptic pipes to avoid accumulation of condensation. The vent is usually placed in the middle of the pipes. It may also be located near a tree so it will blend in with the environment. Make sure, however, that there are no low points where condensation might accumulate. It is possible to use a short vent or a decorative vent so it will blend with the environment. However, in winter, the vent must stand taller than the snow accumulation. If the system uses a pumping station, the air circuit must be adapted, adding a bypass pipe or a tall vent to the distribution box. Now we will move on to the installation of the distribution box and feeder pipes. EnviroSeptic's distribution box allows access from the surface at all times. A riser might be necessary according to the level of the final landscaping. Now, prepare the surface of the sand in order to install the distribution box and feeder pipes. Next, cut the entry and exit holes in the distribution box. Be careful to use the appropriate cut marks for the entry and exit of water. Install watertight joints in the openings by placing the conic part toward the inside of the box. Using an all-purpose knife, notch a portion of the diameter with your hand. Carefully uncover the 10 centimeter rubber circle. Important: do not try to push out the rubber circle without first cutting it, as this may damage it. Place the distribution box between the septic tank and the system in such a way that the feeder pipes will have at least a 1% slope towards the EnviroSeptic pipes. The distribution box is installed on compacted sand. Be sure it is stable and level. Insert the pipe coming from the septic tank in the appropriate opening. If the system is fed by a pumping station, a velocity reducer must be installed in front of the distribution box. Assemble the feeder pipes using long elbows. Insert the pipes about 2.5 centimeters into the distribution box and 10 centimeters into the offset adapter. Place and pack sand around the pipes to keep them in place. The installation of the distribution box is completed by placing a vertical T on the entry pipe at the center of the box. This T allows air to pass through the upper opening and water to run to the bottom of the box at an equal distance from each of the equalizers. To adjust the equalizers, rotate all adjustment knobs clockwise to full up position. Add water into the D-box until reaching the weir openings of the equalizers. Using the water as a level, observe which outlet sits lowest in the D-box and do not adjust the equalizer fitted to that outlet. Rotate all remaining equalizer knobs counterclockwise, moving the weir plate down to match the level of the lowest equalizer. Fine-tune by slowly adding water to make sure all weir opening outlets are at the same level. Carefully place the square insulation in the box so as that its top arrives just even with the flat of the box. Install a riser if required. Fix the riser and the cover using the screws provided. Cut a polystyrene sheet to create two pieces of insulation for the outside of the box. Put them on each side, covering the entry and feeder pipes. Please be advised that on some projects, a low-pressure distribution system adapted to EnviroSeptic may be used to distribute the water instead of a distribution box. Refer to the documentation inserted in the sampling port for further details on the installation of the distribution box. You are now ready to add the final backfill. A layer of 10 centimeters or more of system sand is required on top of the advanced EnviroSeptic pipes. The thickness of the final backfill depends on the system configuration. Counting the sand layer on top of the pipes, the total backfill should be between 30 and 60 centimeters thick. When the installation is done partially above ground, give the backfill the slope required by the designer on the plan. Allow also a slight slope on the top of the system to help make the rainwater run away from the system. To finish, using one of the cutting lines, cut the sampling port at the proper height, keeping in mind the level of the final landscape, so that only the vent is above ground. Once the installation is finalized, don't forget to give the owner's guide to the customer. Next, complete the EnviroQuality and send as requested along with the sand sieve analysis to whom it concerned as dictated. Following the EnviroSeptic installation rules will ensure you and your customer a quality installation, both standard and performance compliant. Do not hesitate to communicate with the distributor for any further questions. Thank you for your attention and happy installing!